So, part of the reason that the Openheim group is so successful is due to leadership, right? And how do you keep your team motivated despite conflicts and obstacles? Because in the show, for show purposes, I think you kind of see some of that stuff. How do you kind of manage that?
Well, I would say that the people that I hire are naturally self-motivated. So that's probably the easiest part about keeping them motivated. And I think that also I try to keep like a very cohesive environment where we're all supporting each other. And I think that everyone motivates themselves. I mean, I think that watching people succeed motivates you to want to succeed. And I think that, when we come in here and we have questions and we help each other, and I do think that, when someone rings the bell, I think everyone's like, I want to be ringing the bell soon. So I do think that seeing your friends and the people that you care and love succeed around you is very motivating. And then I try to apply, I think, a modicum of pressure because I'm running a business.
Right.
I think there's a fine line there. And I think that I don't need to apply so much pressure to these people because they're so self-motivated, but I have to do my job as well.
And that's kind of one of the reasons why I reached out. Cause when I see you on the show, you're very confident, you're very stern. And you're also like empathetic and things like that. So how do you kind of align the people that, are working with you and for you with like your vision and your mission at the Oppenheim Group?
Well, I'd say most importantly for me is that I really care about the people that I work with. They're my best friends and I love them. So for me, I think it's easy to have the empathy and the support, and also I think kind of that stern boss role, because I think naturally I'm pretty serious professionally. If anything, I try to take it down, as I get a little older and more mature. And then in terms of the empathy, I mean, I don't think it's like a normal relationship among employees or agents because I think that we care about each other so much. So, I mean, I truly, for me, I think the definition of success has changed. I mean, it used to be about me when I started out, success was about my volume and my sales and my financial stability. And I think now I get more enjoyment watching the people that I love succeed. So
that's powerful.
It's easy for me to take the time to kind of help those around me because it makes me feel really good.
So a common, I think a common theme in entrepreneurship is like to not necessarily hire your friends because of the downfalls that could potentially happen. So how do you manage that fine line?
I mean, I've heard that a lot, and I've also heard people say that they're not friends with people that they've dated. So right. I don't know, for me, I like good people around me and it just seems kind of organic. I mean, when you get a group of people that all care about each other, I don't see how that's not going to be more successful.
Yeah.
Maybe we choose well, I mean, I think I really like people that I can trust and that I respect. So, I think heart is important to me. I wouldn't hire someone that's successful that I didn't like, that I didn't think would gel, that I didn't think maybe they would bring in money, but they would be difficult or they wouldn't be supportive or they would be, or that I couldn't trust them. So right. I think that I'm very, very careful. And honestly, it's why we haven't grown that much too, because I don't want to mess up the dynamic. And the other thing too is if you're happy at work, you're going to be way more successful.
Yeah.
I think everyone here is pretty happy. So if you mess up that dynamic, you can mess with not just yourself, but you mess with, everyone's success.
Yeah. Yeah. So what qualifies someone to be part of the Openheim group? Do you have because you're talking a lot about, family dynamic and, everybody kind of being respectful to each other and seeing each other succeed. And that sounds super, super positive. So let's hear kind of like what qualifies someone to be part of the group.
It would be hard to put that into words. Now, I have a Newport Beach office that I'm expanding, and right. I'm kind of going through this process right now where and I think I'll be opening in Vegas and doing it again. Nice. So I'm just meeting people. I'll go out to coffee. No, granted, I mean, we get hundreds of requests. So, it's 1 or 2% of the people that reach out, we hire, but also I'm not going to hire some 16-year-old that wants an internship either. So we get a lot of those types of requests. But I go out with them. I have them meet my partner, Matt, down in Newport, for example, when I'm hiring down there, I get his take. I have them meet some of the other agents. I get their take. I really don't just want to rely on my own opinion. I really like to get other people's, because at the end of the day, they're working together even more than I am. So it's kind of like hire by committee. And then also I'm more and more particular about your experience and success. You know, I don't have the time to be taking someone from scratch right now.
True. So how did it come to be, you know, kind of expanding? Because, you know, I mean, I binge watched the show. I'm pretty sure a ton of people binge watch the show. And that's a huge, you know, the season finale was a huge announcement. So how did that come to be? Because you said it was your passion project, right?
That had been years in the making. You know, my brother and I had talked about expanding, and he kind of convinced me otherwise. And I think he was right. I think the brokerage model was largely dead for many years. And I think to some degree, the brokerage model still is dead. I mean, I don't know if just running a pure brokerage makes sense. If I wasn't making money and branding myself and able to recruit, you know, for reasons outside of just a normal brokerage, I'm not sure it would work for me either. But I had spent years talking myself out of expanding. And then when I did decide to expand, you know, I make quick decisions. I went down there, I found the office. And I think the biggest thing that I do is I generally just believe that things are going to work out. Yeah. Because if I didn't, I never would have got that Newport Beach office at that price. I never would have had that size. I never would have spent the money to build it out. So even in LA, I got this office here without one agent. So I always have just believed that things will work out, and they always do. And I think maybe just natural maturity and age helps. But yeah, I used to be pretty reactive. I would say that wasn't one of my better qualities. I'm far more, you know, calm now. I don't get worked up as much. And I think I'm a better boss, a better person, you know, a better boyfriend because of that. So that's a process. It really is, because I'm very particular about details. And I let a lot of the little things, you know, matter to me. And so it's hard to relax. It's hard to, and the other thing too, is like, I know that like positive reinforcement works better than negative reinforcement, but sometimes negative reinforcement is easier. So it's a process, you know, it's a process for me to keep reminding myself of how I respond well. And also a positive office dynamic is important for people too, staff and agents. So that's been honestly, that's been a work in progress for me. I think I've gotten a lot better, but I did not start out that way.
Yeah. And what about your relaxation time? So how do you kind of like relax in a world full of like, you know, constant noise?
At night, watching Netflix.
Yeah, really. That's a pretty simple. I mean, no night ritual or morning ritual that kind of gets you.
No, I'm not a complicated person in that regard. I like to not think. Sometimes, you know, usually I'm on my phone or computer, so I just will try to put it away and actually just watch a good show. And that's my detox, my downtime.
Cool. So what does Jason watch on Netflix?
I watch a lot of TV. I like a lot of really good documentaries and crime dramas. Cool. So like, I like The Jinx. I'm trying to think about or The Undoing, Mayor of Easttown. Chriselle and I watched a lot of crime dramas together. So I can't even keep them all on track, but there's a lot of great ones out there. Ozark, you know, whatever. I'm rambling now, but you know, this is the best time in human history to be watching television with the content out there. So I really enjoy it and taking advantage of it.
Cool. So what can we expect from the new season?
I've never looked forward to a season more than I'm looking forward to season 5.
Why?
I think there's a lot of great real estate. I think that there's a lot of depth to this season and storylines. I know that, you know, oftentimes we focus on the dynamic between Christine and the women. And I think that in season 5, it's more layered.
That's good. And I think this next season is going to cover a lot of you and Chriselle, right?
It is. Yeah. And I love filming with Chriselle, but I can't say that I am a natural at kind of exposing my personal life on camera. So I wouldn't, you know, if there's anyone I could do that with, it's Chriselle, because I just love her and trust her so much. But that's not exactly something that I would enjoy.
All right. Well, I think that's it on my end. Is there anything that you want me to ask you about before we hop off?
No, but I appreciate your time. I look forward to it.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Jason. Have a good day.
Yeah, thanks for your interest. Take care.
Bye.